Good evening, my friends. I'm Jeff McFadden. Pardon me while I punch around here and get comfortable. This afternoon, I'm going to talk to you about climate change, and I'm going to read you a children's book that is a true story. And if you own the copyright to this children's book, I hope and request that you see this as a fair use issue. Your book, although written as a children's book, is probably the most important handbook on solving climate change worldwide that has ever been written. Everybody else writes about what's wrong, and these fine people right here wrote about what's right. This book is called The Boy Who Grew a Forest, The True Story of Jadhav Payeng. It's by Sophia Gholz, and it was illustrated by Kayla Harren. And I want to tell you that I think both of these people are brilliant artists and should be followed and should be treated with respect whenever encountered, because I got this book just because I used to tutor a young man in reading, and I needed some book that was represented a person of color, because he was, and that was somebody succeeding, because he hadn't very many times. And so those were the things I wanted, the stories he saw, to tell him. So I didn't have to make that point. And the true story of Jadhav Payeng. Now, first off, I'm going to talk to you just briefly about climate change itself, what we call climate change, which my followers know that I think is a much larger problem than just the climate. And I think to call it climate change is to both be entirely accurate with your facts and to wildly underestimate the seriousness of the problem. Both those things. This is the place, this is a representation of a place that is a perfect picture of climate change. There is no water. There is no soil. There is no life. And the very best you could possibly hope for out of that piece of ground is that it not bleed carbon into the atmosphere, and the odds are that it probably is. Okay, so that's where we start. This book starts basically at the end of our worldwide story, okay, because it's already happening in places, because it's not just climate. It's a number of things about how modern humanity manages the world we live on. You know, we could manage it entirely differently and not be in all this trouble. So that's the point of my whole position, and that's the point of this book. Regular readers know that I don't buy bottles of water unless I'm forced to, because I'm out someplace and can't get any for free. But I own 6 of these. 5 of them are in my refrigerator, and 1 of them's here, and I just go around, and I put filtered water in them. I filter water through a cheap carbon filter. And that's what I drink. I drink, tap water through a carbon filter out of a poor man's canteen. And so the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. Proverb. In India, on a large river island, among farms and families hard at work, there lived a boy who loved trees. Trees meant shade, food, and shelter for many. And this is life. And although you wouldn't think so, I believe that this is a better life for humanity than the one that we live in the modern world. I think that living like this, roughly at peace with the land, using biologically powered things, that I believe that we could be literally fully as comfortable as we are today and appreciably happier. So I'm not talking about sacrifices. I think this is a better life. People pay money to go visit places that look like this, and then they think they don't want to live there. But each rainy season because this is in real life. I looked this up the other day. This story starts in the 70s, someplace I believe. It's not in this book, but this is recent. This is the participants in this story are still alive, and so this can be done in one lifetime without using it up. But each rainy season, floodwaters swallowed more and more of the beautiful tree-covered land. The boy's precious island was shrinking, eroding away with the rushing river, leaving empty sandbars behind. And what we call climate change, I'm going to get up here in a minute and turn on this overhead light because it's not very bright in here. What we call climate change is an increase in energy. And increase in energy means everything happens faster. And so the river is flowing with more power. It's not just the temperature, it's every natural event has more energy in it on average worldwide, because temperature is only one measure and energy is in everything. And once it arrives here as heat energy, then it immediately soaks into all the matter. That's how energy works. I mean, it's spelled out in real long complex terms in the three laws of thermodynamics, but basically energy goes from where there's more to where there's less. And the more there is, the faster it goes there. And so this river's running faster than it used to, and it's eating the island. And people have lived on this island for a long time, and people before us have known things we didn't know just as surely as we know things that they don't know. And people sometimes accuse me of or understand me to be saying that we need to go back. But so far, we've never, or at least since the agricultural revolution, we've never managed the ecosystem in a way that was not degrading to it. People say it's because we're humans. Some people, they say, humans are just terrible on the earth. And humans who do what we do today are terrible on the earth. Just beyond description. I mean, we've done all this damage in a century. The world's been here 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many billion years ago. Life's been here for 3 or 4 billion years. Aside from little events like asteroids hitting or meteors, hitting the planet, it just always got better and better and better. I mean, in terms of, there's always been more life than there was the day before, since the first day. Except, and it got up to where it carry all those dinosaurs, and I mean, the world was just covered with life, so thick and so deep and so productive that we're running our whole economy on it. That's where all this oil, that's what all this oil and coal is. But since the agricultural revolution, humankind, the agricultural portion of humankind, has been degrading the ecosystem consistently, nonstop. Any reading of history in which you look for these events consciously, they're in there. It's just that we weren't thinking in terms of degrading the ecosystem. We thought when we cut down the whole forest across the entire United States, eastern third, that we were improving the land. That's what we call it. We call it improvement. Okay? And all this time, we've been degrading the ecosystem, and one of the ways it's degraded is by an increase of energy and temperature. Anyway, leaving empty sandbars behind, the river's washing away his home. The boy witnessed animals stranded on those sandbars, their homes destroyed. He feared that if animals withered without trees, people would too. And there's dead snakes. And that's how our world is. That's exactly how our world is. Except the difference is we're all driving, so we can't see it. He was walking, and at a walking pace, you can see it. I walk a lot now. You can see it. we're killing everything. Okay? That's what we're doing. It's not just carbon, it's carbon and. Anyway, the boy shared his fears with the village. The elders explained that the only way to help animals was to create new homes for them. They gifted the boy with 20 bamboo saplings. As I understand, although this picture shows a little kid, and it's really touching this way, so I understand he was in a neighborhood of 16. So he was a boy, you know, in the same terms that Miss Thunberg is a girl. You know. They gifted the boy with 20 bamboo saplings. There's no water. Alone, he canoed down the muddy river. He wished he could cover all the land with trees. But a large sandbar nearby was a place to start. The land was too barren for animals. The shores too sandy for leafy trees. Would bamboo grow? The boy hoped. Determined, he began to plant 1 shaft, 2, then 3. Bare dirt. Sandbar. Doesn't rain there? Nothing. Okay? Every day, he watered the saplings by hand, sweat trickling down his face and chest. He built a watering system to help. And this is what I say when I tell you I'm not opposed to technology. I just think we need some smarter technology. We're not doing this right. Our technology wastes all the energy in the world. There he is watering. There he is with his technology. My friends, humans do technology. It's not about technology. It's about a worldview. We can't kill it all to get our work done. He lugged heavy buckets from the river. His arms grew tired, his back sore. Still, each day he tended to the plants, and over time the bamboo patch grew. Now what's going to happen here in simple scientific terms, this is a sandbar in an island. That means down below that ground somewhere there's water. A sandbar in a river. So as these bamboo get taller above ground, they're getting taller below ground too. So this isn't really that complicated when you think about it in terms of how this could work. The bamboo grew into a healthy thicket. The boy was proud of his work, but he worried it wouldn't be enough to stop the swelling river or to provide shelter for animals. If he wanted more plants to grow, he would have to create a richer soil. And so, he's going to do that. He has a bamboo thicket, and he's going to create a richer soil. I see what's wrong with my lighting. I need to fix that thing behind me. I can't pause this, so I'm going to shut it off. Be back.